Your guiding light is all I know. Through wood and steel, through fire and lace, I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Is to a throig arcane. You laid the path before me. You guided every step. Raise the hammer, string the bow. Her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead time it's sure? We'll build the land, our hearts within. From dawn till dusk, I work, I strive. With your blessing, I'll survive. The loom, the forge, the sword, the grain in your name, I rise again. Got Bua, got Tolan, got Trio. In you lies strength, in you lies skill. Each victory, each talent, each trial. No task too great, no skill too small. Your gifts, dear goddess, guide us all. Into force. Without your light, we have no guide, but with your hand, our place abides. Raise the hammer, string the bow. Her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead? Our greatest deed, by the grace of the goddess we are free. We'll build the land, our hearts within. I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Blessed by her grace, forever.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pax Dei, The Search for Steel. I'm your host, Daniel. And tonight, we will be going over a new topic, or an associated topic, I should say. And that is to essentially move through our communication and ancient wisdom into listening. Well, it's all about listening. How deep, empathetic listening can transform relationships, careers, and even our teamwork in online games. While we're doing that, you'll see me in the background with Empire doing tasks, just so we can talk and get some things done. So with all that said and done, we're going to draw on insights from ancient philosophies, including Greek, Chinese, Indian, Indigenous, and Islamic traditions. I feel the broad sweep of the brush is best when you have access to all of the philosophies in the world. And as many have been discovered throughout history. It's amazing. We live in a great time. So, what are we doing tonight? Well, we're defining active, empathetic listening. We're also going to offer practical strategies for everyday life, career leadership, and MMORPG community building. So whether you're in your personal relationships or as a leader in your organization or virtual community, effective listening is key. It's a component. It's not the entire thing. But as you'll see as we move through the commentary tonight and the examples, you'll see how it comes together. So I encourage you to take notes, reflect on how you can integrate these insights into your own life. So let's outline the roadmap a little bit. So we'll cover definitions as always, because with any conversation that this channel has, I'd like to define it's foundational, right? We define what we're talking about, and if any definitions are deviate from that, then we can talk about that as well. But for now, in the context of our conversation, we're going to define everything in every episode, so long as I think it's not. Well, now let me back up there. Common sense is not common. I had a whole episode on that. I'll do another one because it's so important and so practical these days to assume common sense and then find out that that's not necessarily the way it was. So we'll do practical applications, and of course I found some exercises that you can engage in to improve listening skills. Your listening skills, or you can trade these or use these for other people to have them understand a little bit more about what's going on, meaning the active listening part. So tonight we're going to define the active listening and empathy with detailed components. I did in a past podcast go over empathy and sympathy. They are not the same thing, nor should you be using them interchangeably. You'll see empathy tonight. not exactly from me. You won't see it that way, but we'll define it and we'll talk about it. We'll examine cultural perspectives on listening from various ancient traditions. Absolutely. We're going to discuss practical applications in personal, career, and MMORPG contexts with multiple examples. We'll engage in practical exercises and reflective practices. And of course, we have a Q&A and a final synthesis with key takeaways. By the end of tonight's episode, you should have a robust set of strategies to transform how you listen and, in turn, how you connect. So let's jump in. So first, let's define active listening. So the core definition I'm using is the deliberate process of fully engaging with the speaker to understand their message. Yesterday, we talked about communication. We know the components of communication: message, speaker, intent, timely, etc. However, with active listening, it's deliberate, is the key takeaway from this. And you fully engage with the speaker and their message. Look at that. I'm already done doing all the hides. There we go. Oh, that's not where I was going. Although I might as well take some of these so I can actually create some fine leather. And we'll craft some yarn. Okay. So going back. All right, so there's some key components to active listening, and I'll run over them, and then here's where my speaking communication is lacking. I'll create a definition for each component, but I want to say the components first, and then we'll go back and define each. So first, attention, then reflection, then clarification, then feedback, then nonverbal cues. We'll probably have an episode for complete nonverbal communication. I think it's really important. And if you become an expert at nonverbal communication, it'll really provide more well, you'll see. You'll see as we go through the actual lesson tonight. So let's define these, right? Look at the graphics on this. I can't overstate this. Amazing. I haven't seen him in a while though. I wonder if he's still around. He might be. There's a lot of players that will take a break and wait for some major updates. And that's cool. I'm okay with that. It's somebody's strategy, right? Oh boy. I might have to go hunting soon. I got a level in Taylor as well, so I wonder what I can make now. A bummy fine linen cloth doublet. A doublet. A cloth jacket. Nice. I might try for them. Unexceptional cloth pants, though. They're unexceptional. Alright, well, we have some new ones. There's some magic items I can make. Of course, the demon hunters. Do I have vestments? Commanding vestments? They mesmerize. Okay, so that's like a demon hunter's tunic, honestly. So a little bit better on defense, but I like the look of the demon hunter's tunic. Sometimes you just have to go for look. You know what I'm saying? Alright, let's put that there. Maybe we'll actually do some leather working a little bit while we're talking. Let's see if I can get any of these. They're moderately hard, so I don't want to just craft all 119 of them. Especially when you don't need all 119 of them. As you can see, I get them in groups of 20. Alright, let's talk attention. Focusing completely on the speaker. Eliminating distractions. Basically, you want to turn off your phone during an important conversation, or put it face down if you can. Holy crap. Talk about not succeeding. That's 4 unsuccesses. I'm just gonna make up words now as I go through the academics, but it's just annoying that I didn't get 4 of them. That's crazy. There we go. Steel buckles. Ugh. And boiled leather. I think I got lots of boiled leather. Yeah, I got plenty of boiled leather. Yeah, cool. Alright. Let's see where I can put this stuff. I think I put it here. One thing in this game that you'll find is you run out of room really fast. There we go. Well, perfect. I'm glad I didn't make any more. Alright. So, let's see. Yeah, attention. A lot of people, like, for example, playing a game while you're listening. You're not granting your full attention to the speaker and the message. I'm not saying you're not going to pick up anything. That is not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is, for active listening purposes, you don't want to do that. That's something you wouldn't want to do. Forgot to do this upstairs too. You prepare all your stuff. I'll go down and get some cotton, I suppose. All this to craft steel. Oop, oh, I was right. There we go. Alright. Now, I don't want to take all this stuff down there. Because if I take all this stuff down there, I won't be able to carry as much cotton back, so we won't use that. We won't get into any fights with bears. Maybe I use this. Yeah, I'll do this. So that way I have maximum amount, but I also can get out of there in time and heal myself just in case. There we go. All right, now we're heading all the way down south, and I can talk all the way while we're doing it. And we should be fine. And I'll pray when we get down there for some grace, so I don't have to waste it. And we are swimming across this. Swimming in the morning. I do like the fact that you can actually drink while you're going across. That was a lot of stamina. Interesting. All right, and I'll run at normal speed so we can discuss stuff. All right. So we are at reflection. So let's define reflection. Paraphrasing what is said to ensure accuracy. That's pretty self-explanatory, honestly. But we call it reflection in the academics of the active listening. And it appears literally just how it sounds. So what you're saying is, and then repeat or summarize best of your ability. And if they're like, no, you missed this detail. Okay, so they're looking, now you can surmise they're looking for you to understand the detail also of what they're saying, not just the overarching subject. Clarification. Ask questions to resolve ambiguities. Very important. Not many people do this, even in my current position. Now, where I do find this a lot, this method, key component of active listening, is with when I talk to English people who speak English as a second language. They do ask for clarification. Love it. Never get mad at it, because I don't get mad at it with English as a first language either. And there's the reason for it is I want people to understand what I'm telling them or what I'm asking them to do, right? I want to get them on my side. It's a politic thing as well, right? So what would be like a question? Well, fairly simple. It would be like, could you explain further what you mean by insert the thing that you want further explanation? This also provides the speaker the feedback that you're listening to them. So they're not wasting their time. They're not going to have to go over everything again. It creates an association between the speaker and the receiver, that's much better, in my opinion, right? So let's talk about feedback. Offering responses to show understanding. It doesn't have to be questions, but it could even be statements such as, I appreciate your perspective on this. Now, we can talk corporate jargon and what that actually means. So, or what it could mean to some people if they interpret it via the dictionary version of corporate speak. But we regress. Let's move on. So non-verbal cues are important. Using eye contact, nodding, and having an open posture. For example, you lean slightly forward when a friend is sharing their feelings. If you were leaning back, crossing your arms, it's kind of dismissive, right? But if you're leaning forward, maybe arms on your legs, you know, that's an extreme lean where you're really interested, but you might just sit up, right? Or lean somewhat forward, or put your arms on a table. Showing the distance is closing between you and the sender. Or you and the sender. So what's the practical impacts of these things, right? It builds a solid foundation for trust and a deeper connection. It avoids misunderstandings and miscommunication, and it encourages speakers to open up further. There's air. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about understanding, or let's understand the topic of empathy. Like I said, I went into an entire episode of knowing the differences between being empathetic and sympathetic. But let's talk about empathy on its own here, because you need it for active listening. Well, what is it? Well, you have cognitive empathy, you have emotional empathy, you have compassionate empathy. Those are the three types of empathy that we'll talk about, right? So let's define cognitive empathy: understanding someone's mental state or perspective. Such as, you know, you recognize a colleague's stress in a meeting. You're like, that person is stressed. Let me phrase my questions in such a way where it doesn't push the button, right? Let's just call it what it is. You don't want to be perceived. You still need the information, so you have to ask the question. But if you're active listening and you have cognitive empathy, you'd be like, wow, they've had a crappy day, whether that was at work or, you know, at home. We don't know. We're all human. We all have these events, encounters, situations, right? So let's talk about emotional empathy. Well, feeling what another person feels. So you're feeling sadness when a friend is upset. You're not sympathetic. You're empathetic. You can empathize. You're not in the exact position as them. However, you understand the position they are in. For example, somebody having a bad day. You might not be having a bad day, but you can surely relate to somebody having a bad day. And to what degree they're having a bad day or why they're having a bad day, that's not what empathy is for. It's just recognizing the fact that they have had a bad day and understanding, like, man, I've been there. Depending on the degree of how, you know, how bad it is, you know, then I can form I can form a different opinion on it, right? Sorry, the Play Gifter said, where are the hard things in this game? Always skin when you have a chance. Darn it. I don't need it. I'll go hunting later. Alright. What is compassionate empathy? If we have cognitive and emotional, what's compassion? Well, it's taking action based on that understanding. So you offer support or assistance for someone in distress. A great example of this is you see somebody just overwhelmed at work or overwhelmed in the game. Instead of saying that sorry, I talk about losing track of where you are. So let's see. Yeah, badgers. I hate badgers. They sound mean, and they won't do any damage or anything, but they're still a pain in the butt. Anyway, they're loud and obnoxious. So offering support or assistance to somebody in distress. So, like I was saying, you understand when somebody can't meet a deadline, and perhaps you're in a position to help them. This is compassion and empathy. Why are they telling you these things? Is it for help? Perhaps you don't say a word, and we'll go into that. But maybe you do, right? There's too many dire wolves around this area. So I'll just run for now. Like too many freaking badgers. Maybe if I put his brethren on the ground, he'll stop chasing me. That's intimidating, right? I just realized I could have used that magic here in a second. There is a bridge over there, but yeah, it didn't render too quickly. Sure, nobody's behind me. I didn't wait long enough. Ow. 26? Really? Watch this. This is why being an alchemist is great in this game, because I just have the ability to sprint so much longer. Alright, anyway. So we enhance interpersonal relationships. We lead to more effective conflict resolution. And again, I need to put together a show for conflict resolution. But this is one of the foundations that you really need to understand before that episode, right? Active listening is it's an important part of conflict resolution. And we create a foundation for a supportive community. People don't feel as isolated, right? When they bring up something. Why do people bring up problems or bring up roadblocks or challenges? And why are they bringing them up to you? These are all good questions. Listening will kind of give you, and they might be skirting around it, and this is why you ask the questions back to them. You might not necessarily say, why you telling me? That's not the question you want. You want to listen and find out where the nuance of the conversation is going, the information. What is the message? And if you have an ability to help within that message, then you can take action, which creates a supportive community, right? People aren't going to be as standoffish with information because they know if they do talk to you, you'll be listening, right? All right. So the core concept of active listening is I'll say it as a quote. Trust is built when people feel they are truly heard and understood. So what are the supporting elements to that type of statement, right? Well, the supporting elements you have, I'll say it again, read them out. as a list, and then I'll go back and define them. Transparency, reliability, mutual respect, feedback loops, and cultural impact. So let's look at transparency. Well, transparency is honest dialogue which encourages openness. For example, if a manager, a manager who wants the feedback, and this is, I might as well wave to him. I don't know who that is, but I'm only here for cotton, so we got plenty of crane extract. Luckily, they can't attack you. It's a no attack zone. I'm looking for cotton. There's some cotton. Oh, I forgot to get the blessing. Let's get the blessing. Gathering. Now let's do this. Okay, so it shouldn't be that bad, but darn it, I always forget that sometimes. It's a new component to the game, so we might go over reading for comprehension in one of the podcasts just so I could do more research for myself and get some tools and techniques, because I fail at retaining information as I get older. Well, information that isn't exactly associated with a future goal that I have. Even though I love playing this game, the action of reading every bit of material and remembering it gets kind of old fast. So, all right, let's continue. Where was I? Transparency. All right. So a manager holding an open Q&A session. And the reason I preface that is the manager needs to want the feedback and be open. Just to have a meeting or an open Q&A doesn't mean they're going to do anything or listen to the Q&A. If it's just a obligatory or a checkbox meeting, then of course you're not going to have any real what's a good word, action that comes out of the meeting. The manager is just there to say, yeah, whatever, I had it, to his upper management, right? I had the meeting, so everybody should have been on board. Nobody had questions, or they had the questions, but all they were doing was complaining. How many times do we hear that? Or, well, it depends. If you have a good manager, you don't hear that. You do hear what they listen to you. A good manager will listen to you. A okay manager will probably listen to you. A bad manager will not listen to you. And you'll be like, what the hell? And why am I working here? But that's the same in the game, right? We're still, if somebody's not listening to you in the game, as a clan or a guild or insert group, the group dynamic in my statement, right? MMORPGs or even life. There's some harsher people out there that say, look, if people don't listen to you, shed them. They're not friends, right? They're not going to help you. They may detract from your progression, right? That's a little harsh for me, but there's some truth to it, right? We're not going to discount the statement just because it's a little harsh. We could analyze the statement. All right, back to it. So that's transparency. Reliability is consistent listening, shows you value others, right? And it makes sense. If somebody's listening to me consistently, it means at least I'm valued in their opinion, right? Might not mean they're going to help me, but at a minimum, they're invested in what I have to say, right? And honestly, reliability goes a long way in creating or crafting the political capital required to do a majority of the jobs that we do in life, right? Even when it comes to games, if somebody's not truly listening to you, then their reliability is probably not going to be high, right? This is the wetlands, if you're wondering where I am. Over on the other side of the lake is where the danger really is. The Zebin Scourge. I'll be going over there in a second because I need to gather more cotton. Unfortunately, you can't get there from here. I would love to be able to swim across that, but as you can see, there's no way across. Even the bridge doesn't even get you there. It's just fine. Even with my stamina as high as it is. I could have went around that. Stamina to climb. Absolutely. There's some boar over there. I don't feel like dealing with them. They're probably old. And right now I don't have a shield, so yeah. I'd take some damage. I have some healing potions, but yeah, if I can avoid the fight, I will. And there's a old ancient structure across the way there, which is kind of cool. I'll go that way because it is kind of cool. There's no cotton over here. But I do like to show off the graphics every once in a while. And there's nothing guarding it. There's no beasties, so... It is pretty cool, though. Ancient structure. And then we're off, because I'm on a timer. I probably could get enough grease that I'm not too worried about it, but I do want to finish this up. I just realized my food. It shouldn't have been. Usually food's like 25 minutes. That's annoying. Alright. See, where were we? So reliability is regularly. That's a mouthful. Asking team members for input and then following up. Again, you're listening to them, so you definitely want to ask them and follow up with what answers you did. Did find out. All right, that took a little bit of shortcut off it. I don't know where that dude went, but it's fine by me. Okay, mutual respect. Listening conveys respect for the speaker's ideas. Oh, yeah, right? A friend pausing to consider your viewpoint during a disagreement. If you're disagreeing with somebody, the best time is to active listen. Just don't respond to conflict quickly. Especially when you're in a disagreement or feel that you're in a position that they don't understand, right? They don't understand. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna shoot right back. Sometimes the pause is actually more significant. Gather your thoughts. Remember that not everything's emotional, even in the game, right? If somebody's yelling at you, just listen. They probably have a reason somewhere in there. And maybe you can ask questions on that reason at the same time, right? And perhaps you can steer the conversation or the ire to something that's a little bit more practical. So definitely mutual respect will convey will be apparent as you just stop and listen, right? Pausing. You don't have to do it forever. You just have to pause. Gather your thoughts. It's a good time to do it anyway, but listen to them. Because as you're gathering your thoughts, a lot of people do this in debates. They have the answer, but they haven't listened to the person, right? So in not be if with yeah, because they weren't listening, they already had an answer for something somebody said. However, that answer was for something somebody said earlier in the conversation and may not be relevant at the point when you're ready to answer, right? I don't want any rose hip. Okay. Look for this cotton. Jeez. I could just mark it, but there's so much cotton down here that why mark it? Why waste it on my map? When I can just look for it. Oh, see, right there. There we go. Bet you guys didn't see that. Put a 1 in the chat if you did. Maybe you did. I don't know. All right, let's do feedback loops. Ongoing communication strengthens bonds. Yeah, for sure. I think everybody can feel that, or understand how that feels, right? It's definitely one of those aspects that if somebody's given me feedback for something I've said, they've taken the time to consider it, right? This way, just need to find it. I know the Zebians are down there, so could I take a Zebian? Maybe. Wouldn't count on it though. Not in my leather armor. Definitely in my plate, but I'm not in my plate. And Mesmerize only gets me 1 hit on them. It's not like it's a double hit or anything like that. Or 1 free attack, I should say. Like I said, there's a lot of cotton down here. And since I'm using the blessing, it shouldn't take me that long to gather it. I hope. I could go that way, but I want to go down here. I know there's some cotton down this way, so. And I don't want to get too close, but there is cotton closer to them. So if I do it right, I can pick up the cotton. Not worry about engaging with the Zebian. Cool. thoroughly kick my butt if I get too close. It can run. All right, a niche. Let me take a sip of my Zevia non-sponsored soft drink that I drink. So when we're talking about active listening, what cultural impacts do you suppose could be associated, or maybe, well, I'd say associated. Well, one would be the indigenous, what do we call them? Indigenous cultures. Active listening during storytelling is key to passing on wisdom. And in the modern workplace, open communication is linked to higher job satisfaction and performance. Anecdotally, I think we can all agree that is the case. All right. I know there's a 4 up here. I could probably do some damage to 1v40. It starts to rip me apart. I can buy that too, because there's no real con that I need near him. Don't use parsley that often. It's a little pro tip. It's a lower level seasoning for lower level cooking. I'm not that high level cooking. Maybe it is at a higher level, but that was close. I totally scooped that. This meadow. All right. So, what's the importance of listening in building trust? Well, the core concept is that trust is built when when people truly feel heard and understood. Right? If you don't truly feel heard and understood, you're not going to feel a bond to the person. Therefore, you may or may not trust them. Building trust is important, right? So, what are... All right, so let's see. Let's go on to the next. So let's talk about a little cultural perspectives on listening. Let's talk ancient, right? I look for more cotton. There we go. Wow, cotton must have been something interesting. The game puts out flax, right? We understand that flax makes linen, cotton makes cotton clothing, which is kind of cool. How did humans do it, though? Maybe we'll do an episode on that. How did humans figure out the loom? All right, let's see. So in ancient Greek, from an ancient Greek perspective, Aristotle in particular, you have he emphasized that listening is as important as speaking in debates. So in Agora, citizens would engage in dialogue where active listening ensured that the arguments were well understood. It also built credibility by demonstrating knowledge and reason. Leaders who prepared with careful study were respected for their thoughtful contributions. Makes sense, right? Is there only one over there? I think I can get to this. Like I said, I don't really want to... Ah, I'm already full, huh? Okay. Well, do I? Yeah. I really don't need that. Let's go get more. And then we'll get back to Aristotle here in a second. Can I drop some? Thought I did. Ooh, close to that thing. Almost done. And then we'll teleport back. That's usually how I do this. Because teleporting back will save me on time. Time management in this game is very important because of skill ups and such. You don't want to have to spend too much time running around the world in order to find the resources that you need. Already? I guess so. All right. So, ethical appeal for Aristotle's listening perspective. Truth and virtue were core, ensuring that all voices were valued. And then, of course, in the modern day, business leaders who listen before speaking are seen as more credible and effective. In certain cases, depending on who they're talking to and listening to, is the might be the predicator to that. But for the most part, I think that's true. All right, so let's talk about Confucius and active listening. So Confucius promoted listening. I can't believe I'm going through this much. There we go. So Confucius promoted listening as an essential learning and maintaining, essential to learning and maintaining harmony, right? So an example, in a Confucian classroom, for example, the teacher listens alternatively to students. What the heck? Talking about not listening to my commands. There we go. So it fostered an atmosphere of mutual respect. As a matter of fact, the way we have our education system today is probably counter what we need it to be. The basics, for sure, but the basic we're trying to train or teach our kids literally everything, even things they're not good at or they don't really feel like learning. Yet we force the learning, which is kind of weird because in the past that never happened that way. Meaning the distant past, right? And some of you might argue, rightly so, that in the distant past, there were when you had such situations, there weren't many offerings. Forgot, I think. Can't believe I got the deer. I wanted to get the boar. All right, moving on. As many, if you're new to the channel, after I get a full equipment bag, and I'm heading home, oh yeah, I am definitely going to start skinning, because I need my skinning to 40, and the only way you do that is if you skin everything, and I'm going to do that. So that's my plan. Okay, so back to Confucius. So credibility was earned through demonstrating commitment to social roles and tradition. For example, a community elder whose advice was valued during their lifelong adherence to moral values. So if you were immoral, you were not credible. Shocker. Now, today, it seems, it doesn't seem that way. In all honesty. In honesty, it seems like the immoral are getting listened to more. For example, if somebody lies, to me that's immoral, right? So if you lie, you've lost credibility. Even if you tell the truth later on down the line, right? I mentioned I hate badgers. Free badgers bad. I can't believe I caught him in that spell. That's not what it's looking like. There we go. Hunting with an axe. Go figure. Alright. So, let's look at the ethical appeal. So, centered on benevolence, Ren, and propriety, which is Li. I think I'm pronouncing that properly. An example is leaders who ensure fairness and respect communication, right? A lot of animals over here. I forgot. The axe is so freaking thin. There we go. Okay. So back to. So in corporate settings, when you're talking Ren and Li, the being respectful and patient listening improves team morale and reduces conflict, right? You're being respectful, you're listening, you're taking time to understand your team or peer. Same in MMORPGs, same in life, right? If your friend thinks you're blowing him off, then you're probably not gonna be friends for long. Alright, well, what else do we have? So let's talk about... I'm gonna butcher the Indian name, but Upanishads, and Buddhism. So when you're looking at these two perspectives, you're looking at mindfulness and inquiry being two of the major components, right? Not the entire thing. I'm not going over the entire philosophy. I'm only going through a very tiny portion of said philosophy, right? So when we look at this, we're emphasizing reflective inquiry, and deep listening as paths of self-realization. Somebody died. Oh, I got the rabbit. Who died and where? I could have sworn that was. Okay. It doesn't matter, rabbit or deer, bear, you get when you're skinning it, it all counts the same. Bear should count like for 4 skins, 4 skinnings. But it doesn't. Really? Looks like somebody moved in over there. As long as they don't move in near me, I'll be more pleasant and happy. This valley is getting busy. Alright, let's talk. So Buddhist monks engaged in silent meditation to heighten their awareness of subtle speech and thought. So it really, your credibility was linked to self-discipline and commitment to Dharma. For example, a professional who demonstrates ethical responsibility through constant practice, right? Or consistent practice, which emphasizes compassion and nonviolence, or ashimio, I think it's called. Wars are really tough. They're probably the #1 killer in your home valley when you're I don't know if they're still there, or maybe I get my hammer and figure it out, because I can use some of that stone for glass. Anyway, at any rate. That was a long journey down there just to start getting the rough cotton. I went cotton cord, so I need to actually get some experience here. 1.5 million to get to 31. Gee whiz. Okay. Anyway, let's continue our conversation. So the ethical appeal is a leader for emphasizing compassion and nonviolence, is a leader who makes decisions that prioritize the well-being of all stakeholders. So in modern applications, we look at mindfulness techniques in therapy and corporate leadership to enhance listening skills and emotional regulation. Some companies go to the extreme, which I wholeheartedly agree with, is to provide areas in the workplace, or provide days off for me days, or personal days, so you can gather your thoughts, just relax and disconnect, right? Many companies start to do that. I think that's the way to go. I think where the problems arise is when a company, especially sales, says to a customer, we're going to have this ready for you in 90 days without consulting anyone, and not listening to the customer's needs, by the way, for active listening. Doing so might put your team that needs to prep that sales order or create that sales order in a pinch. So where I think active listening would come in would be for that sales to listen to the customer. And if they can't make the commitment or don't know, they should tell the customer, be upfront. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the Islamic Golden Age perspective. So scholarly rhetoric and ethical dialogue was a big foundation in this age. So scholars like Averroes emphasized rigorous debate and attentive listening. So, for example, in libraries and madrasas of medieval Baghdad, scholars engaged in thoughtful dialogue to refine ideas. So, it the credibility was built on deep scholarly knowledge and adherence to ethical teachings from the Quran. Again, the golden age of the Islamic golden age was based off of scholarly rhetoric and ethical dialogue. So it was a huge component. Today we kind of parsed ourselves from that teaching. So what's the ethical appeal? Well, it emphasizes justice, honesty, and compassion. Leaders who are transparent in their communications and accountable for their actions. That's the example, right? So what's the modern application then? Well, in academic, corporate environments, fostering a culture of reflective dialogue enhances both learning and ethical leadership. So let's talk a little bit about, we've talked about corporate for a long time. Let's talk about personal life, right? Here's some active listening techniques for your personal life. Maintain undivided attention during your conversations. For example, turn off all distractions. And if you're in a distracting area, suggest to the speaker to go to a different area. Right? It's as simple as that. So during a heart-to-heart with a friend, use paraphrasing. So you feel, right? Don't assume what they feel. Ask what they feel. And if they can't put that feeling into words, ask questions so they can. Because if they don't know what they're feeling, they can't resolve what they're feeling. You're certainly not going to resolve what they're feeling. So let's be fair, right? All right. So practice mindfulness and stay present. And then reflect on nonverbal cues, facial expressions, and body language. Use silence effectively to allow the speaker time to process their thoughts. Pausing is so key. And Vin Gang, a communications expert on YouTube, mentions your pause, whether you're speaking or listening, will help. You form your thoughts when you pause. So if somebody asks you a question, instead of spitting out the answer, pause. Two things will occur on that. One, the person that is speaking may think, and it'll appear to them that you're being thoughtful. Wow, they're really thinking about this. Right? And the other is you're giving time for the speaker to understand what they've asked, and you're giving time for yourself to understand what they've asked as well. So here's an empathy building exercises. So engage in reflective questioning, such as how do you feel about this, to explore emotions. So maybe during a family conflict, ask open-ended questions to better understand each perspective. Practice talking, or perspective talking. Imagine yourself in the other person's shoes. How about keep a journal to track and reflect your emotional responses? Why did you, and ask yourself, why did I feel that way? Why did I feel angry at the statement? I just put out a new song called Words Like Stones. Well, what is it about? Well, it's about when people hurl insults. What is your response? Right? Do you put yourself in their shoes? Or are you taking offense where there is none given? So keeping a journal and tracking those emotional responses would help you understand, and maybe you'll be able to foster a different response next time, or a different emotional response next time, right? Big deal, in my opinion. That's a huge deal. So basically, in game, we'll move to the in game so you understand what I'm doing. There's two things I need. It's either cotton or wool. I'm not going to be able to use both. Or I'm sorry, flax any longer. So just FYI. I can get rid of these. I'm looking at things to get rid of. Crazy, right? Ow. Alright, so all that can... You can throw all that other stuff away. Yeah. Because I can't sell it and nobody's buying. I picked my house for view, not marketability. Not the market. Now in the next game, I'll be able to do both, right? If I want to be more a merchant, I'm going to have to place my house a little bit closer to the road, or put a plot. Use 3 plots for my house, and 4th plot I'll use for the market area in the road. Okay. So develop personal mantras to reinforce empathy, like I seek to understand before being understood. Some people will get that. Some people, I can't do that. That's not me. That's not me. So I'll be honest there. A mantra, a personal mantra, it doesn't work for me. However, introspection after the fact. Like, what did I do wrong? Why didn't I understand before I started spitting out whatever nonsense? Because I didn't understand what they were communicating. What I said was nonsense to what they were the message they were trying to convey. Right? So I can definitely do that. And storytelling and narrative sharing, huge. Share personal anecdotes to convey lessons learned. For example, discuss a time when you were listening, when listening, change your perspective. Use story, and these are great for interviews, guys. I'm telling you to do these things, right? Or I'm suggesting. I'm not telling you. I'm suggesting that you do these, but everything you write down, you can use in the interview. How many interview questions were asked in a different way, but basically said, "Hey, how did you change your mind?" Well, if you have one of these written down already, then you're prepared for the answer. There's no right or wrong. It's how did you respond, and did you respond in a healthy way or in an unhealthy way? So you also use storytelling as a way to connect on a deeper level. People love stories, absolutely love stories. I'm a horrible storyteller. I feel, right? I do feel that I'm a horrible storyteller. So when I'm not exactly proud of that, but I'm also trying to get better. And how am I trying to get better? Well, I've started to direct and produce film, AI generated film, right? And it's given me an opportunity to reflect on how I am storytelling. I hope that makes sense to people. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm going to go hunting because I need wool. Need lots of wool I'll bring this. Trying to figure out which ones would be best to bring. I actually think let's take a pause for pro tip gaming stuff. I'm at level 28 maces and level 18 great axes, so those are the two I need to work on. Pole arms is still there, which is my two-handed. So mace it is. I can take the mace and replace it with the spear. And I have an axe, so I can get wood to craft my wooden arrows. I just need it to attract the beasts. I don't need it for any other purpose. Alright, let's go hunting. I'm looking for wool. So essentially boars, bears. That's about it. I don't care really about the leathers. My friend built a bunker. He's known by many names. Aiden is what I know him as the most. I haven't seen him online, but I haven't been online either. I've been very busy. Okay. So, make stories relevant and relatable. We also want to encourage others to share their stories, which creates a dialogue, right? And also it gives you kind of a more nuanced teacher element within the conversation, right? I don't need skinning because I need wool. Wool's not part of the skinning race, so I don't have to worry about that. That is a wolf. Wolves don't have wool. Neither do deer, however. I can do the skinning stuff. Really? There we go. I'm basically just trying to skin. I don't, like I said, I don't really care about anything else. Ooh, that was over his head. Where the hell did he go? Is he a mountain goat? See if he did see me. Maybe he smelled me. This guy's gonna be a pain in my butt. I don't need full power, but that was just getting annoying. That was just one of those. I'm gonna hunt him like Elmer Fudd because now he just irritated me missing him that often. That was annoying. He will get better at this game over time, so don't think he won't. I might as well take some tree branches. So I'm going to be making some arrows here shortly. All right, let's go back to the story. All right, so reading nonverbal cues. This is going to be an entire episode, by the way. But let's go over a little bit here. So observe the speaker's body language and tone. So, for example, notice if a friend seems withdrawn or anxious, and this will prompt you to ask gently about their feelings, right? Again, there's that word gently about their feelings. You don't want to bulldoze through their feelings. I don't know where all the deer are here, so. Yeah, that should go on YouTube Shorts. I'm surprised it didn't run. It's funny, people go out in the most armor they could possibly wear, and it's not really necessary. If you buy armor, I suppose that would be alright, you know what I mean? Maybe we'll go over some strategies in Pax Dei here after this series. Alright, back to it. Let's see. Adjust your responses based on your observations of your friend, right? Or your a loved one, or etc. Insert person here. Colleague is a human, so being at work changes nothing in the advice I'm giving you. So validate their feelings by acknowledging what you observe. If they're scared, if they're timid, if they're not feeling well, their body language will have a certain degree of that you'll see their body language change, right? And you'll be able to tell quite easily on certain body language. Others, body language is a little subtle. And that's why I want to do a whole episode, because it is hard without practice to understand what you're seeing. But for the most part, I think humans in general understand a little bit of what they're seeing. So, meaning intuitively, right? Oh, that's not what I want to do. That's all right. That's okay. 170. Oh, I don't have syrup. Okay, that's right. Well, I do. I just. That's what I wanted. This is your stuff you can craft without having to have a table or anything, so it's very nice. All right. So enhance the rapport through appropriate eye contact and gestures. Can't say this enough. I can't really stress this enough. Your body language and your eye contact is going to also acknowledge them. So some people can't look people in the eyes. It's not for any other reason than because they are how should I say it? Just shy, right? All right, let's see. Feedback loops. We'll encourage feedback after discussions. So you would ask, was that clear? Or did I miss anything important? Let it fall on them. They're active. They should be active listening as well as providing a message. Right? All right. Let's see. What do we got? Use feedback to improve future communications, right? Hey, you know, what did I say that didn't resonate with you? There we go. That's better. Cores are always tough on the shields. I've really got to get my armor skill up so I can get the next shield. think if I back up, if I'm taking less damage, that time I avoided some damage. That was kind of cool. First time, well, probably not the first time I did it, but it's nice that I can see that I did avoid that damage. Okay, back to it. So create a habit of regular check-ins, right? Feedback loops, right? Foster safe spaces for honest discussion. And I don't mean that in the colloquial term safe space. What you want to do is you want to foster and say, look, I'm not going to get mad at you for the feedback you provide. Right? I mean, that's what you're asking. That's the actual ask in the conversation. If people are fearful for the response they're giving you, then they're going to be less open to give you feedback in the future, right? So it's a big deal. It really is a big deal to have a rapport. I think one of the things not many people have a good handle on is you shouldn't take things personal, because if you do, that means you care deeply about the interaction that's going on. Family members, for sure. Yeah, some friends, not all. When I say friends, yes. Acquaintances, not so much. I don't call everybody friend, and I don't call friends acquaintances, and I don't call acquaintances friends. You know, it's a very particular definition for me, and I would hope it would be the same for you. All right, let's see. Document the feedback and track the progress over time. Right? So it's interesting that many people who seek feedback are doing it to check a box. They're not really doing it for future stuff. There he comes. Trying to see if I can duplicate that. Man, boars really know how to mess you up. Really, I don't care about the deer as much as the boar and the bear. Should be cloudy. It's in pale land. And I need to find the road and kind of go down. Once you get to know your maps, you'll have a much easier time leveling up. So I highly advise it. And I think I went down a little too fast, but let me see if I can navigate here. Yeah, maybe I can. I think they're over here because I passed them. The deer, that is. I should be able to take them out from here. If the arrow will actually meet where they are. There we go. Surprised I didn't take too much damage there. Yeah, I knew the other guy would run. All right. Pretty run too, though. There he is. This is hunting 101, by the way. You gotta be careful because last time I was over here, there was a infinite bear and an infinite wolf in the same frickin' encounter. Had to run. Okay. Let us... This way... I don't want to go back into the Pale Lands, so I'm trying to skirt the Pale Lands. As you can see, there's the... I love the way they did the biomes. They're not a cut and dry type of thing. They're nuanced. Could be 2 deer down here. Yeah, I'm either getting better or I'm just lucky to. Lucky. I'd say lucky. Yeah, let's see. Deer in front of me. There we go. And I'm really going for the bull, so... And 4 is really what I want. Really? Alright. Let's continue, shall we? Alright, so let's look at career and leadership. So, for persuasion techniques, you want to use ethos, logos, and pathos. Or logos, ethos, and pathos. Well, what are they? We went over them yesterday. However, they're basically facts, credibility, and emotion. And use those in your presentation. An example is a business pitch. Start with clear statistics, then share your experience, and then tell a personal story, and it'll be memorable. That's what you want, the memory of it. That's the big part of the presentation when you're in business, is the memory of it. People have their own lives. Executives have their own lives. Not that they couldn't care less, but, I mean, let's face it, you know, everybody wants work to stay at work, right? Ah, that was my... Thought I'd get it before he hit me, but obviously not. Okay. So prepare well-researched presentations as well, and then practice delivering your message with confidence. Use visual aids to enhance understanding, PowerPoints, and other things in your PowerPoints, pictures. I'll tell you one thing, AI has come so far that if you need a certain picture to depict, you know, what's going on, okay, that was interesting, to say the least. Here's 2 more. All this for wool. Inside, I'm getting my skinning up anyway. Nah, it was off. Why these aren't expensive? glad another one just left me alone. Let me grab this and then we'll continue our conversation. Oh, he's an infinite boar. We'll run because I don't feel like my shield has a lot of health that could go against infinite wolves, infinite other things. That's fine, but infinite boars, they do so much damage to your shield. It's not even funny. Let's go this way because I need bear. Okay. So ethical dialogue and conflict resolution. Once again, we will go over conflict resolution in another episode. So you want to facilitate meetings where every voice is heard. So in a team meeting, use a round robin, sharing everyone to ensure everyone's contributions. Yeah, psychologically, that's a good example in general. However, when you're in actual workplace, you want to be cognizant of people who are less than sharing. Meaning, maybe they're introverts and they're like, "Yeah, I don't really have anything to say." At least I'll get some mace work, huh? My mace is actually halfway decent. That's why I'm like, I definitely need to get my mace level up. So back to introverts. Don't press them. Round robin is a decent example, but know your team. That's close enough. That's fine. Really? There we go. There's a bear. You gotta be careful with dire wolves as well. They have a lot of hit points. Alright. We'll take that bear here in a second. So use reflective questioning to identify root causes of conflicts. Also encourage respectful debate and discussion. As a matter of fact, put that as a rule of every meeting. No matter how heated it gets, it's not personal. Just be respectful in that passion, right? Because we as individuals, as humans, are passionate about our work, right? And we take pride in it. We own it as our own, even though in real terms we shouldn't. But we do. Summarize the key points to confirm mutual understanding. And then follow up with feedback sessions to address any lingering issues. If there's some kind of action item that needed to be queried, come back to it, right? And then, of course, you want transparent communication. So hold regular town meetings, whether that's or regular household meetings, right? Share both successes and challenges in your team, right? Foster an environment of openness. Digital platforms to ensure accessibility, right? Use them. If somebody can't make it, or if and the other thing I would say is if somebody is at a doctor's appointment, they should never be required to join the call. It's only a gray bear. But it has a lot of wool. I want the wool. I was hoping I'm gonna increase the level of my spear too. It'd be nice to have a weapons master. That's what I'm going for. Once you know how to fight creatures, it becomes easier, but you're still challenged not to make a mistake, right? Man, that wasn't a lot of fiber. Okay, or wool, I should say. All right. So maintain consistent messaging as well. You don't want to. Transparent communication means that you don't want to muddy the waters, right? Wow, I thought he was going further. Really? Like I said, I'm glad I'm not using expensive arrows. I have this bear over here, so I'm gonna go over here. I'll try to weed him out. All right, so encourage the team members to voice concerns without fear. Again, we're establishing that you need to speak up. We want your voice is valued. And if you say something less than, well, I'll just say it. I'll say it out loud. If somebody perceives your statement as stupid, that means either they weren't listening actively or you weren't listening actively, and you said something that shouldn't have been said. Really? Is this thing? There we go. For whatever reason, I didn't have the defense up. I love the music though. When you're attacking bears in a group, I'm surprised I didn't take any damage there. That loud sound was me going up a level on my polearms. Alright, so I'm only here for fiber, so that can go. Deer carcass can go. Beef carcass can go. Pick up plenty of those. There we go. Alright, let's finish up this episode, shall we? Let's been a long one. It's all right. It's an important conversation to have. An animal hide that I'm up behind? Yeah. I'm dumb on you. Don't need that. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out. All right, I know. There's actually a way to cross up here. I usually swim across here, but I didn't today. If I guess the log. Here we go. All right. I'm out of danger. All right, so mentorship through storytelling is another aspect of active listening that you can actually create an environment where you practice your active listening. So share personal experience to guide others. So a mentor recounting the lessons learned from a failure. Failure is better than a success. And then use the stories to illustrate complex concepts. And because you're demonstrating the complexity, you're hoping or can teach the active listening, right? So encourage mentees to ask questions and share their stories and listen to them, right? Providing actionable takeaways from your narratives. And of course, create a culture of continuous learning. So leveraging digital communication tools. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll just run through these. So use video conferencing with breakout rooms for focused discussions. Employ digital whiteboards during remote sessions, or actually create the focus rooms. Integrate collaborative tools such as Slack or Teams or Zoom for real-time communication, and enhance the clarity with visual presentations. Also use polls and surveys to gather feedback. Schedule regular virtual check-ins to maintain team cohesion. For MMORPGs and virtual communities, your team coordination and clear commands, right? These are the things. You need to develop a set of standard callouts for in-game situations. For example, in Pax Dei, you want specific callouts for battles and bear hunts, right? Use clear, concise language to minimize the confusion. And establish roles, responsibilities before engaging in gameplay. The biggest thing with clans in Pax Dei, and we'll do a I'll quickly go home. The biggest things you can leverage in Pax Dei is the clan. The clan is going to provide the mechanism of which the game is going to be played. Man, I was hoping I didn't get too close to that thing, but I guess I did. Really? Really? For some reason. Really? Doesn't think my axe is a worthy opponent? Really? I was trying to drink my potion, not use my axe, but you know what? I'll take it. Oh, that's not what I want. All right. So, practice the commands in training sessions. Go out, to low level areas and in a group and say, okay, we're going to practice how we approach even the easiest of combats, because when we're in the mix with harder combats, we're going to have the ability to adapt and to listen to clear and concise commands. All right, that hitbox was a little lacking, wasn't it? Is it me? I have one dire wolf up here, but you know what? I can pass it pretty quickly. As I can sprint, they're not gonna catch me. Because I went through the veil, I thought, before I can sprint all the way home. Get home at night. Yay! All right. And then after you're done your team coordination and clarifying your commands, debrief afterward to refine the communication. Like somebody might you say, oh, when everybody speaks or when something happens here, I can't hear you. Is that right? So that could change your perspective on how you're issuing commands. And wholeheartedly, excuse me, need to take another sip of Zevia. Can't stress this enough. In-game storytelling and shared narratives are essential in MMORPGs, especially if you're heavy on the RPG. Use storytelling to create shared identity among clan members. So organize story nights where members recount a clan's history or achievements or a past adventure, or where they found this rare mineral or where they found this rare herb. Foster a culture of communal memory. Use narratives to instill values and ethics, and encourage new members to contribute to the clan's lore. Strengthen group cohesion through shared traditions, and that's what you're basically doing, right? So active feedback and debriefing sessions is huge, right? So implement structured debriefs after gaming sessions. So after combat, conduct a session where members discuss what went well and what needs improvement. And then create a space where everybody can provide honest feedback without anybody being offended by that feedback. Celebrate the successes and identify areas for growth. Nobody does everything perfectly, so there's always areas for growth. So use platforms for digital tools and moderation. Use platforms like Discord with organized channels. So set up dedicated channels for strategy, feedback, social interaction. Assign moderators to maintain order. Use scheduled updates to keep everyone informed. Encourage continuous improvement or engagement through regular events. Leverage bots or apps to facilitate structured communication. Right? Go wild. So how do you integrate ancient techniques into the modern context we've been talking about? Well, Aristotle's rhetoric, again, utilized structured arguments that incorporate logos, ethos, pathos. Yeah, let me go through this. So you want to reinforce Aristotle's rhetoric reinforces logical structure and ethical appeal. It encourages clarity and consistency. It's applicable in public speaking and academic debates. In Confucian dialogue, we want to emphasize respectful and moral discourse, right? So use respectful, inclusive language to build consensus during team meetings. Cultivate social harmony. It will cultivate social harmony and ethical decision making. It builds mutual respect and trust, and it encourages role modeling, and collective responsibility. If we look at the ancient India and Buddhism, the dialogical inquiry, we want to engage in reflective questioning to promote self-awareness. So during personal reflection, ask, what is my true intention? To clarify your motivation. Balances a rational analysis with spiritual insight, and it enhances mindfulness and self-realization, right? It's applicable in therapy, education, and mediation practices, right? So if you look at the indigenous oral traditions, storytelling, and proverbs, they use narrative techniques to pass on ethical values. We share traditional stories that emphasize communal responsibility and respect for nature, right? This creates and morphs your MMORPG or your real world aspects, right, into tangible storytelling, and using proverbs provides that ancient wisdom. It encourages intergenerational knowledge sharing, right? And it provides moral lessons through vivid, memorable narratives. I can tell you right now, we are lacking in the United States for those traditions. What do I mean by that? Well, let's talk about the oral trends. Let's say, what's a good? Our grandparents, our great grandparents, let's say our grandparents and our parents are elders within our community, and we pay them no attention. Crazy, right? Absolutely insane to me that we pay them no attention. Absolutely insane. You don't know. You're not going through what I'm going through. Right? We don't listen anymore. We don't try to associate certain aspects of the conversation. Parkour. Let's see. Yeah, that one fit. Shouldn't fit there either. No, I didn't think so. Here? Nope. Is this? No, it's alarmed. Okay. I was hoping I'd have... Oh, good. I did have room. And I have more meat. There we go. I didn't think I had room in there. Maybe in here. Maybe. Yep, I do. Which leaves me to... Definitely that. I think I need, I gotta cook one of these days. I gotta go get some more herbs, too. Nah, what else looking for? No room in there. That's my fruits and vegetables. I don't want intestines in my fruits and vegetables. No, I can definitely take that one. Put that one in there. And I can bring this over to here. Here we go. go upstairs and do a little bit more talking. I wonder every once in a while what it must look like to other people trying to there we go. All right. So let's talk about the Islamic Golden Age, the scholarly rhetoric. So you can combine scholarly research with ethical practices is what you really want to do. So if you're a leader, you present ideas supported by rigorous data and ethical considerations, reflecting scholars like Avicenna. It promotes accountability, justice, and intellectual rigor. It also bridges intellect and moral responsibility. It's applicable in academic and corporate leadership settings. All right, let's look at some practical exercises because I think I'm winding it down here. Yeah, I'm going to leave off the studies and I'm going to wrap it up, I think. But after I give you the exercises, because I think the exercises are important. So reflective dialogue session. So organize a small group of participants and share a personal story. Practice the active listening and the reflective questioning. Evaluate the impact of narrative techniques, and your outcome should be enhanced empathy and communication clarity. And when do you use it? Well, team building, workshops, or family gatherings. This is what when you should really implement this exercise. What about exercise 2? Rhetorical analysis practice. Analyze a recorded speech or present a presentation by identifying logos, ethos, and pathos. Discuss how each element was effectively or ineffectively used, and then brainstorms ways to improve the presentation. So you'll improve your public speaking and your persuasive skills. You usually use this when you're in leadership training or public speaking courses. And this is part of critical thinking, by the way, rhetorical analysis. So do an in-game communication drill. So conduct simulated events where you're raiding a ruin or going into an NPC stronghold. And you want to assign the roles and the callouts before going. And then afterward, debrief everybody, right? Discuss the communication's effectiveness. Collect feedback from everyone and refine the strategies as needed. What you want to do is you want to increase your team coordination and trust by doing this. So usually you would use this in regular training sessions within your gaming community is where I would recommend it. So cross-cultural journaling is another one. Maintain a journal tracking communication challenges and successes in your personal, career, and gaming settings. Reflect on which of the ancient techniques resonate best in each context. Share your insights on my community forums, whether that's LinkedIn, which I have plenty of articles doing this same thing, or in YouTube comments, or at my X account. Share, and then this is tailored to communication strategies and increased self-awareness. So when do you use it? Daily or weekly, depending on your commitment. So another exercise is cultural storytelling sessions. So host a session where participants share traditional stories or proverbs from their cultures. Discuss the ethical and communicative lessons within these narratives. Compare similarities and differences across cultures. Your outcome should be enhanced cultural appreciation and strengthen group cohesion. and, if I might add, understanding when to use an educational or community building settings. There's a lot of research that I did, but I'm going to go into the final synthesis here. And we've been talking for a little bit over 2 hours, so I feel that everybody is ready to move on with their day. But if you've made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. And the channel appreciates it. And if you're new to the channel, this is what we do. Ask questions. We're okay with it. That's not what I wanted to do, but let's do it. All right, let's get back up here. Put some of these away. I don't know if I'll be able to put it anyway. Yeah, I should be able to. No. So I can bring that in. Put that away. That's better. And we can put the there. Put all these in there. Don't really need it. This one, if I could do this. Have a bow and arrow thingy. Let's put it here. I might have another leather storage area over here. That isn't it. Oh, right here. Here we go. Okay. All right, let's finish it up. So what did we talk about tonight? In the 2.5 hours almost. Well, active, empathetic listening builds trust and deepens relationships. We talked about ancient wisdom from diverse cultures that provided practical insights on listening. Some of these techniques have all have real world applications for personal life, career leadership, and MMORPGs. The empirical research that I had, I didn't share, but it will support the logical, ethical, and emotional elements in communication. Trust me on that. So by mastering the art of listening, you're unlocking the power to connect authentically, lead effectively, and build lasting communities. So I will put a question in the chat, and I'll leave it there. So I'll just leave this here. The question is, what's one listening technique from ancient wisdom that you could start applying today? As always, audience members are invited to share their reflections and experience on community forums or via social media, so X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Some of the other questions that you might want to ask yourself is, what challenges have you encountered in listening? And how might these techniques help you overcome them? Even if the feedback is minimal, every insight enriches our collective understanding. So I invite you to participate. And of course, any question will be addressed in follow-up discussions. All right, and then of course, a couple notes. Final reminders: experiment with one of the new listening techniques this week, whether during a family dinner or a work meeting, or the next clan session or guild session. insert MMORPG. And then share your experiences on the social media, on my social media, or in the comments, so we can all learn and grow together. And of course, stay tuned for more explorations on how ancient wisdom continues to shape our modern interactions. One last thing before we sign off is, please check out my new music video, Words Like Stones. I am working on the next one, which is a little bit more peppy. It's a little Spanish English. What did we call it? Sunset Love. It's pretty good. I like it. So I'm going to be working on that next. And then, of course, I have another one coming out after that, which deadlines and broken clocks. It's a really good one. I think everybody will enjoy that one as well. But for now, thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the art of listening. I hope you found, or if you found tonight's session valuable, please like, subscribe, and share. Stay curious, stay empathetic, and until next time.
With every step, a lesson learned. From fire's heat to the fields I've turned. The blade and bow, the forge and flame. I sharpen my skills, I play the game. Each day brings a challenge I must face. I train my hands with careful grace. From alchemy's art to the hunter's way, I'll find the strength to seize the day. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. From the herbs I find to the iron I mold, each lesson learned is a story told. The stars above, they guide my hand. As I hold my craft, I take my stand. In the quiet woods, in the mountains chill, I push myself, I shape my will. With each new tool and every lore, I'm stronger now than I was before. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil, I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. The road is long, but I won't turn back. The lessons I learned keep me on track. With each new skill, the stronger I grow. In the face of the storm, I let my courage show. I've tasted defeat, I felt the sting, but I rise again with each new spring. For knowledge is power, and wisdom the key. I'm forging my path, I'm breaking free. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, my skills. I'm ready to fight.